going on, everybody? We are live. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Go Veer, Go Home. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody that's in the chat. Today, it's Third Rail Thursday, so I'm going to do some stuff on the layout. I'm going to take a walk around, show you a few things, ask a few questions, see what you guys think, get that feedback, and we'll have a good time. Might be an hour, might be 4 hours. I mean, come on. I did a whole day live before, so, doing a couple hours is probably nothing at this point. Now, for some of this, I won't be near the laptop, so I might not see all the comments, but it's one thing that I do is that I go back and I watch, and I always go through the chat just to see how everyone's doing. If I missed anybody, I'm really sorry. But we'll definitely get to it, and we'll see what's going on with the layout, because I've been busy. Honestly, it's almost the middle of the month, and I've got a lot done. For the most part, anyways. I don't know. You guys can be the judge for yourself, but we'll just take a look here real quick. M&M Rails, thanks for joining us. John, Shane, Otis, Ryan. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Jack, how's it going? We got Gerald, Dennis, Bubs, Dave. Hey, Dave, thanks for joining us. I'm just going to throw this up as well. So if you enjoy what you see tonight, just to let you know, every Thursday night we've got something cool going on for you. So first Thursday, I was going to say Monday. The first Thursday of every month, we've got Dave Co, and he does a live where he'll work on the layout. He will, run trains. He's the guy with the steam. If you're looking for steam, you're in the wrong place. Don't worry. Eventually, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But you'll want to go check him out, Dave Co. And then I got the second Thursday of the month. And I used to, when my layout was operational and I could run donuts around this thing, I would run trains every Thursday night. But until I get to that point, looks like I'm going to be building. And you guys can follow along every Thursday. It's going to be different. Usually it's different. Last Thursday, or last month on this Thursday, I built a kit, and that was fun. It's not done. They're never done, but that's what I did. And then the third Thursday of the week, and so we go over to M&M Rails. Always a good time. So funny. And he's always running trains, and we always get into it in the chat. It's a good time. So if you like trains and you like watching people build and whatnot, honestly, there's tons of people. But come check us out every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, and then you can join all three of us for a live at the end of the month for GVO After Dark. We usually do some reviews and unboxing, make fun of each other. It's a gas. So come check us out on the last Thursday of the month right here on my channel, and get to see us make fun of each other. So it's always a good time. It's all lighthearted, though. James, thanks for joining us. Forever DC, how's it going? All right. So, yeah, I knew today was coming up, and it was coming up quick. I don't even know where March is going. Honestly, it's been, we're a couple of weeks in, so it seems. And I've been doing a lot. So I'm going to show you some stuff that I have been working on. And let's see if I should probably do it with the portable camera, though. So I'm going to position this, and I'm going to switch cameras here real quick. We're going to bring this over here because I'm going to need that in this general area after. I'm going to do some work. Okay, so we're going to switch over to this camera. There we go. Bam. All right. So, it's getting tight in here. No. This is a huge section here that I've actually been working on. I added a middle module type peninsula right in this open section where I normally do my interviews and whatnot. But you guys already knew this was coming because I had the track coming off. I've got my my tanker cars here. I don't know if you can see those. Oh yeah, you can. So I got a couple of Pro cores here. Well, one Pro core anyways. And I added 2 tracks. It's already down. Got my Cork. All my sidings have hand throws. So I got the Caboose Industries hand throw right here, and that is you know, ensures a little bit more interaction here with the layout. Besides all the push buttons. So I'm using all the Walther's push buttons for all the sides here that are on the main, right? So if it's a switch on the main line, I got one of these, and then if it's a siding for an industry or whatever, then I use the ground throws. Hello. But this is a huge area, and I'm gonna light this up. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna show you something here. This is neat. Let there be light. All right, so hopefully you guys saw the kind of the difference there. I've got my LED lights up right to here, but they go around, and of course on the other side as well. So that gives this area a bit more light, and I'm going to have it going right across here as well when I put this module up. But working in this corner here, so I was doing a bit of this today because if you guys remember my old layout, Brian, who's inked rails, he made me a bunch of rock molds, and I made a huge curved kind of rock wall on my old layout. And when I found out that I had to move, not had to, but we needed a bigger space anyways. I'm like, I don't want to throw away, you know, the rock and all the work that I did. So I was able to jimmy it right out of there, and I got a good chunk of it. You can see here, and then, right? So it all came off, and it's in sections because it's pretty long, but I was able to save most of it so that I can kind of implement it here on this layout. So that's kind of what I have so far. There was a bit of a debate today as far as should this one go here or should it go here? I don't know. A lot of people were saying actually that it should go the other way, so I'm going to show you that real quick, and then maybe you guys could be the judge. It's a tough scenario for sure. What do you guys think? This is the way that a lot of people were saying, yeah, you should definitely do it this way. And then, of course, I'm going to fill it in back there. Most of this is going to get cut off anyways, and I have to redo it because, I mean, I don't know if plaster cloth will actually stick to that. Probably not. So most of that's going to come off anyways. I've got a tunnel portal that's on its way here. So it's going to go right here. And I'm going to have the 2 retaining walls. So it's going to be like just the, you know, a tunnel. It's a tunnel. That's all it is, right? And then it has to be covered over and whatnot. So besides that and the lights, I've got a few other things I've been working on. But first, check this out, because if you guys are looking for places to order stuff online, a lot of you guys know that I order from Otter Valley. As an alternative, sometimes when they don't have what I'm looking for, I often go on to eBay. Now, yeah, obviously sometimes there's you know, a lot of auctions, and then you end up paying like $1 million for something that is probably only worth about $20. So I try to stay away from the auction side, and I look for shops. And North Bay, which is right where Ontario Northland is, they actually have a museum. And in that museum, they sell a lot of model trains. So they also have an online store as well. And I found that they were selling a 3-pack of the Alberta Blues. So of course, I ordered the pack of 3, and it, you know, it was a decent price because they seem to be sold out like everywhere. So now I've got a full unit train. Well, I mean, it's only about like 12, 13 cars, but, and I still have another green Saskatchewan car on the way. Bubs has that. And these are like candy to me. I love these. But I just think that they'll look real cool going right across here, and that's kind of why I have them here. And then they'll go through the tunnel portal, and a good time will be had by all. Well, at least if you're running the trains anyway. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on, because I need to get my bridge in, and I need to get all this done here, and I need to do all this so that I can go this way. And I'm going to show you over here what I've been working on. Sorry for the shaky camera. Whoop. All right. So this is a lumber facility that I've deemed to be called Beaver Lumber. And if you're Canadian and you were born anytime before the 90s, I guess, then you would remember Beaver Lumber. So with Beaver Lumber, obviously, they've been around for a really long time. And I'm talking about like the early 1900s. Times have changed, though, and they were actually bought out by Molson. Yeah, that's right, the beer company, Molson Beer or whatever. And they are no longer. And what took their place eventually was Home Hardware. So I always remember going to Beaver Lumber when I was yay big, and it was a part of my childhood, and I wanted to incorporate that here in that. So now this might not be 100% accurate or 50% accurate, but it's still just, you know, it'll be a representation of just that, right? So we've got the Ontario Northland flat cars that, or the bulkhead flats that come in, and they will deliver lumber. I've got the whole lumber mill kit here from Walters. Comes with little stacks that are not great, but got the storage sheds, which I can kind of show you here. Yeah, I did paint them green, and on the inside, it's you can kind of see I painted all the little racks and the shelving yellow, safety yellow, and they're both like that. And then I've got a building that used to be the Canadian Tire building, and I'm using this almost like a storefront, although it's the back of the store. So we've got the delivery by truck, and then I'm going to get a couple of forklifts for in here, and then they'll be able to load up and unload the flat cars, or if I use some center beams, the center beams will be able to carry the lumber as well. And then we've got a little office right back there for the shipping and receiving of lumber. Right there, it has a little green roof. And I feel like it just pulls everything together here, and I really like it so far. I'm excited to do more to bring it to life even more. And I even have something very special that is on the way right now. It's in the mail, and I'm sure you'll see that at a later date. Not going to say what it is because it's a surprise, but I'll show you later. Carrying on from this side, because obviously we've got the industrial kind of siding here and the main line. So you go up the main line, and then you can either go over to one track or the other track. Usually, if you're working here, that back track will be taken up, so trains can still pass on this one. And yeah, this industrial siding here is going to go right around. It's going to stay at that height, and it's going to go around to the backside, which looks like a total mess right now, so we're not going to go back there. But yeah, I just want to show you guys that this is a huge section that I've been working on. It's not done, obviously, but it's getting there. And I'll be able to add some fascia right along here soon so that I can fill all this in. I've got a road right there, and it's cut, it's in place, but it's not fixed or anything. So eventually I'll get to that as well. This is another view of this section that I've been working on with the tankers and whatnot. Yeah, been pretty busy. And then, of course, we've got the start of the North Bay area. Now, a lot of people say, well, you know, they're looking at my layout and they don't 100% know what is going on, right? Because you look at it and you're like, okay, cool, tracks and whatnot, but how is it going to get from here to up here, and you know what's going on with that? So the best way that I can explain it, especially if this is the first time that you're here, you've never seen this before, and you know just want the quick tutorial. Think about it like two tracks, one going north and one going south. So this is Englehart, and we've got a yard and a maintenance facility here. So you go up the track and you go across a bridge, come around, go down the grade and around, and then you come out right there and you're on the bottom. Then you kind of come up and then you go on the other track. So remember, there's two tracks, one going this way, one going this way. We've already gone this way, now we're going this way. And then it goes down and then into the Helix. And as you can see, there's two tracks in the Helix, right? One of these, the one that's closest to you, is the one that goes level to level to level. This one goes from top to bottom. So we're going all the way up. We'll go round and around. And for anybody who's ever wondered, because I've got this on a 6x6 kind of, well, if I did square it, this is a rounded corner here, but if I squared it, it would be 6 feet by 6 feet. Going across, if I pull up my trusty tape measure, it's 70 inches from that edge to this outside edge here. So that means that I've got on track center for the out one, it's 34.5 inch radius. And on the inside, 32.5 inch radius. I know a lot of people have asked me, you know, what the radius is, and there you go. There's your answer. Now, obviously, as I'm going up here, I lay my cork, and then I paint it black just to kind of seal it and make it look a little bit nicer. Then what I'm doing, so if you take a look at this here, I think this exit right here. So I've got to go up. Is it this one? No, it's this one. So I got to go around one more time because obviously I'm building it up. The track ends right there right now. So I have to add cork and track, and I got to go around once more. And when I get back to here, there's going to be a piece just like this one here that exits. And that's going to go right onto this shelf here. Now, only one of the two tracks, because there's two tracks here, the outside track exits, and the inside track continues going up the inside of the grade. When this track leaves, it goes all the way down. It's going to come down here. It's going to go around like that, go around the back side of that little wall there, come out that way, come back, and it's going to magically join up again. So there's it's almost like a triangle or a Y. It's almost like a Y, but only they're not with the switches. It's going to look like a Y. But so to recap, the inside one continues up, this exits, and then comes back right here. So it's almost like there's no track right here. So anyways, so both tracks continue going up and up and up until it gets to the very top one here, right where you can see this piece that I've kind of sat there ever so nicely. And both tracks exit. the track that would be closest to me, the outside track, continues down and then comes straight right close here, right down the middle of the top module. It's going to be a nice looking bridge up there. Then it's going to bridge across again from this module here, way up here, over to here, the very top. See where the little go bus in the car is? So it's going to go up to there and it's going to circle back all the way. And then it's going to connect right to that other track, the inside track. And when it goes down the inside track, it goes all the way around, all the way around, all the way down. And it's this track right here. And then it goes right back to the very start where you started. Whew. And of course, along the way, you've got your, industrial siding. There's going to be another industrial siding up here. We've got a yard that's here, got a yard here. Lots of storage track, of course. You've got industry, there's going to be industry here, a big one up here. And then on the other side, there's going to be a couple on the bottom. There's going to be a couple down there. And then, of course, once the Helix is done, this is where it gets ambitious, everybody. There's going to be an industry up here, right above the Helix. So, you can go back down the grade, but you can also go back and do a loop on the top here and then come back this way. And I'm going to make it so that you can do a full loop on the top, go down, across, loop back this way, and then just do loops on the top level. And then you can also switch and then just go back down. So, yeah, that's my layout in a nutshell. Exactly. People ask those questions, so I got to give the answers. So it's, yeah, at least now, if you're seeing most of this, you're getting an idea of what's going on, right? So, let's see. Yeah, to be honest with you, and again, Helix, one of those things that a lot of people are often worried about doing, and I feel the exact same way. I was totally no way, can't do it, won't do it. It's just, to me, it's one of those things that I didn't think I would be able to do. It's not that bad. It really isn't. It's pretty bad, but not terrible, not doable. So, and I really hope that seeing me do this and whatnot is actually, it inspires you to try, because sometimes that's all it takes. It's just, that little push is all you need sometimes. So I'm going to do a bit of work on this, and you guys, if you want to watch, I use wood glue, and I find that it holds really well. I use Midwest Cork. It's not, sound canceling or anything like that, but it still gets the job done. I think that you can't really hear the noise of the train anyways, or noise of the, the rolling thunder, as they call it, when you have a noisy locomotive that's basically tooting and whistling and all that. So, if you don't have sound on your locomotive, you'll probably hear all the sounds that it makes, but for me, it's not really an issue. I've got, it's a very small space. So if you have even two locomotives going at one time, it gets very noisy in here. Eventually, I will have to get to a point where I will have to adjust the volume on my locomotives so that if you're over here, you have to be in this general area to hear it. I don't want to be here listening to my locomotive and I can hear the person that's right there full blast. You know what I mean? You want to enjoy the experience as I'm here right now with the train and there's no other train here. So, unless you're working a yard, of course. So I just go around and I pin it. And here's a question that a lot of people ask me, because that's what we do here. We answer questions. When you buy a strip of cork, a lot of people ask me, well, what do you do with it? Because it normally comes like, I don't have one that's not used. Okay, here, let's see if I can do it. Okay, so when you get a piece of cork, it's normally like this, right? And it's solid and it's together. You rip it apart. You rip it in two. It's, honestly, I'm making it sound really easy because it is. Again, if this is your first time doing this, then yeah, you're like, well, what do I do, right? So sometimes you ask questions like that, which there's no problem with. At this point, after all the layouts that I've made, not to completion, but, you know, again, I think this is like layout number 5 at this point. But I'm wondering if anybody else taking a look at my current layout can see aspects of my old layouts and say, oh, yeah, no, that looks familiar. And, you know, you did that on this layout. And, you know, a little part of that other layout, is that over here, you know? So the answer is yeah. So I try to combine. On this layout, I wanted to make almost like an Uber layout where I combined the aspects of past layouts that I really liked, the things that I felt worked, and the things that didn't work, obviously I didn't use those. So it's all part and parcel of learning, really. When you make a layout, you know, it's a learning process. So you do what feels right, and if you're worried about doing something and whatnot, the only thing that I can really recommend is just to try it. Just do it, because you know you will never learn if you don't try. Even if that means like you make a mistake. I mean, yeah, could be an expensive mistake, or it could just be a mistake where, well, it is what it is, right? Yes, true. Sanding it is important. All right. Now, I probably won't get to the whole sanding thing. I really don't want to bore you guys that much, but I'm going to continue laying the cork around here, and then eventually I'm going to run out of space. I've already painted that all black because it was already dry. I took the pins out, so I have to continue the black going up once this is dry. And then I've got some tracks, so I will be able to start doing that as well on the other side. Now, I find that with wood glue, it dries really quickly, because this is the first time I've actually used the wood glue. And I figured, well, if I'm gluing it to wood, it should work, right? Because that's what wood glue is for, just glue into wood. And it absorbs into the cork, you know, nicely. Like it doesn't overpower it, and it doesn't take away from the glue. It adheres well, is what I'm probably trying to say, but I can't find the words. Then the black paint that I use is just acrylic paint. I don't know if I have. Where's my bottle? I had a bottle. of black. Oh, here it is. So I got a big bottle like this. I think it was like $8 at Michael's. And then you use your 40% off coupon or whatever, and then it's a little bit cheaper. Yeah, just saving where I can and yada yada. Just passing on the good word, because I know that this hobby can be expensive. So there's certain areas where you can kind of cut corners. So if you want to get some nice acrylics without, you know, paying a lot, I usually get like the brown from the dollar store, which is like this stuff. And I use the burnt umber. And this is what I use in areas that I'm going to usually put grass down. So I paint it brown, and then I do the turf over top of it. Now this glue also, it goes a long way. I find that you don't have to use a lot. And again, it dries really quickly, surprisingly enough. It's not like a super thick glue either. I used to use the No More Nails, and believe me, that still works. That works really well. It's just a tube of that does not go very far. And I would have had to do at least four or five tubes of that, compared to, like, this is my second bottle and I'm up like all this, plus I did all the yard and all the other stuff on the other, like on the bottom level already. So if that is any kind of indication of how far one of these bottles will go, and this was $8. So look at that. I'm learning you something and I'm saving you money. That's awesome. Now, as Brandon said in the chat there, you want to make sure that you do sand your cork down before you lay your track, which is definitely important. With this Helix and the way that I'm doing it, I basically do 3/4 turns at a time. So, you know, I did 1, 2, and this is the 3rd quarter here. But I wanted to make sure that I left some for, you know, to show you guys how I do all this and show you my progress with the Helix, because I don't think I've done any work with the Helix at all. Have I? I don't think so. I don't know. If you remember me working on this thing live, I don't remember, but now the one thing I hate doing, is having to cut every single one of these quarter turns out. Yeah, it's another one of those things that a lot of people, you know, there's different ways to do it. I find that doing the quarter cuts are best for, especially for doing the install, like overall. I just find it easier. And I'm going to move that up. And by the way, if there's any skepticism about like how strong this thing is, I mean, it's not going anywhere. I've got 9, 10. I've got 10 posts until, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, I've got 9 posts in total. All of them are, well, one of them is directly against the wall all the way down, connected overall. And the rest of these are on the little perches. And, you know, they're all level this way, this way. You know, as long as you build it correctly, I'm sure that you will not have any issues. But things happen, right? So you just got to take your time with it. Go slow. And also, there's lots of tutorials online. Tons. I'm pretty sure I just saw one this past week. And I'm sure someone will say the YouTuber's name because I am, yeah, my mind is like butter right now. I don't remember. I'm not remembering anything right now. But anyways, he has an N scale layout and he just built a brand new Helix. I wonder if somebody knows who I'm talking about. Ron's Trains and Things. Thank you. See, that wasn't hard. You guys know. Yes, Ron's Trains and Things. Yeah, he did a very nice looking Helix. And you'll notice that everybody has a different way of building a Helix. There's no real, I mean, I want to say there's no wrong way, but obviously, like, if it doesn't hold up and it doesn't, support the, everything and it, looks bad, then obviously, that would be the wrong way. But what I'm trying to say is that there's multiple designs. So, you can be creative with it. And I don't remember seeing anybody ever do it where I've just, you just got the posts, it's supported by the inside. A lot of people will use the threaded rods on both sides. A lot of people will use the little blocks, which is basically the same thing if you take out the little L girder, because they're all the same size and you just stack them. The only problem with that is that, when you've got stuff every so often like this, it blocks your train. So what I wanted to do was I wanted it to be open face. So it's almost like a showcase. So the train's going around, ooh, ah, that stuff. And then, that's where I kind of designed, or the method behind this. And so far it works for the most part. I haven't had any issues yet besides needing lots of track and cork, but I think that's based off the fact that it's such a huge radius, A. B, it's 2 levels. Also the fact that it's 2%, so it's a 2% grade, and double track. So if it's double track, obviously you're using twice as much, most likely. I know that there's a level of math in there where it's like, math. So that's probably where I'm going to go to, right about there. I'm going to stop there because that's basically, well, you can see the end of the Helix there right on the other side of the microphone. So I don't want to get too far with this because I'm going to run the long pieces. So I'm just I've got some scrap pieces as well that I'm going to use up. And I'm just going to throw those in here. And I feel like painting it black not only makes it look a little cleaner, a little nicer, it makes it look finished. So, because if I leave it like this wood color, then it just, I don't know. To me, it might look like outrageous. I'll say outrageous. I don't know. I'm tired. It's been a long day. What do you want from me? Okay. There we go. Okay. So I got somewhat of a way around and whatnot. That's the outside track. What about the inside? I love bragging about my Rapido stuff. What are you talking about? I don't think I've seen James's Helix. I will check that out though. Okay, so I'm going to show you now what I'm doing for my second track, because this is where things get a little bit more tricky. I gotta pull out my trusty measuring device. I'll put some of these pins away because I've got a lot of wonky pins and I need them to be in here properly. Okay. So now where's my mark? So the track center is 2.5 inches. Oop. So I'm mark it. Okay, that one's marked. So every so often I put a mark. And I always go off the track centers. This is fun. This is fun and quick. Yay, Helix. All right. I'm so excited to get to level 2, guys. This is exciting. I feel like I'm one step closer to running this thing as a, as a whole, Whoop. Whoop. Okay. Where is that? Okay. Now, some people will even build the whole Helix at one time, and that's cool too. I feel like I'm going to do it one level at a time, though, just to kind of ease into it and all that fun stuff. Although I've got, tons of track and tons of cork that I can use, I'm still going to kind of take it easy with that. All right, so I need more cork. Got a fresh box here. If you guys saw my live mail call the other day, you'll see that I got a pretty big package in from Otter Valley, which included cork and track and switches and all that fun stuff. That's to kind of get me going here. Get this thing done. So yeah, like I said, for those who have never, for you guys who are starting out, this is how the cork comes, right? It's one piece, and then you just split it. Some people also sand this side of it too. So you'll see that there's 2 angles. So there's this angle, and then there was the adjoining angle, right? So the angle parts go on the outside, like this. And one thing I always do is that when I'm doing my cork strips, I always have them off like that. So if this one finishes here, this one is not going to finish parallel with it. It's going to be just off by a little bit. And you can see that here as well. So that's how it's represented there. And when I'm starting it up over here, you can kind of see that those, I know it's like, because of the paint, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah. So they're not parallel at all. Alrighty. Just going to check the chat real quick. So I do super elevation, but not on the Helix. I don't think I'll be flying through the Helix at any top speed where I would need the super elevation, but on my main line, yes, I do. And actually, that is represented. I can show you. I set that up. It's fine. My cat. See that green tape there? It goes around the outside. So there's a couple of layers of that, and it goes right around to the other side. And that is super elevated. I've done a couple of shots from down below where, you know, you see the train coming around the corner and it's got a little bit of a tilt. I don't do a massive tilt. Some people do some pretty crazy tilts. I don't, but it's still, you can still tell. It's subtle. It's very subtle. Yeah, so back up here. So I'm gonna, so I made all these little dots here, and that's basically the track center. So what I can do is that I am going to put glue right along that. I don't feel like getting too messy, so I'm gonna put like a small amount and it'll be okay. Some people will, you know, slightly rub their finger on it and just kind of spread it around a little bit, which is fine. But yeah, like I said, I don't feel like getting too messy. So where's my pins? Alrighty. And also, I only have so many pins, right? I think I know that I had 200, but the little ball on the top, it'll break, and then I'm just like, well, guess I'm not going to use that one anymore. So I've definitely broken a few of those. Also stabbed myself with these things a number of times too. Not a fan. Not a fan. But it gets the job done. Why did not? Okay. Gonna have to hold it and pin it at the same time. I also want to take a moment to say I hope everybody's doing well. Hopefully everybody's family is doing well. Everybody's happy and healthy, because that's really important. Hope lots of people are getting lots of time to work on their hobbies. I know these can be some very stressful times. January was really bad, but you get through it, right? So I'm still following the dots here. And I'm sure people are cursing at me right now saying you're doing it wrong, but this is just the way that I do it. I'm pretty sure there's a million ways to do this, but this is what kind of works for me anyways, so All right, one down. Pretty sure I can do the second one here. What I need is an extra set of hands. There's so many jobs to do, and there's, you know, I'm only one person, and it's very. That's what I need. I need an extra set of hands. So basically, because it's nighttime right now. Well, where I live, anyways, it's, you know, after 8 o'clock, probably almost 9 now. I will probably finish doing this, and then I leave it all night, and then that way it gives it more than enough time to dry. And then I come back tomorrow morning, and then I blast the rest of this with the black paint. That takes all day to dry. I mean, it's acrylic, and the temperature down here is not too bad. It's usually pretty controlled, so if it's, you know, doesn't get too cold, doesn't get too hot. Actually, it never gets hot. I don't find it hot down here unless I'm like hammering away and all that stuff. Now, I do have another package that's in the mail. My wife ordered me some stuff for my birthday, which is this coming Monday, which is the 15th if we're keeping the score. And getting old sucks, basically. But yeah, so I might do a live unboxing or something, birthday present unboxing. It's not a lot of stuff, but it's stuff that I need, and it's stuff that will go a long way. Thanks, guys. I'd like to thank my mom. If anybody finds out where my dad is, tell him you're not nice. So I'm going to continue going around this thing. Almost done. Almost. Sort of. Sort of almost. Oh, I left the pins over there. Okay, gotta reach. Oops, sorry about the reach. Didn't plan that one well, did I? And it kind of hurts your finger after a while because you have to push the little metal ball down into the wood, which is very, you know, not comfortable. It's not a comfortable situation. Sometimes I really have to like dig for these pins to find like decent ones. Let's see. Is that, oh, okay. There we go. Sorry about that. Also, you definitely want to note this. When you go up a level and you add track and you add wiring, make sure you test it. And then once it's good, then you add another level. So you got to become very regular of checking everything, make sure, you know, there's no kinks or anything like that, and et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like I've been doing an okay job. I mean, no one said anything yet. That's like, Chris, you seeing this? Don't worry, you guys will wait till I'm at the very top and be like, yo, you know that bottom one? That one's crooked. And then I'll be like, it's all going to come apart now. That's it. Game over. Where's my knife? So I'm going to cut a short one. There we go. Normally there's more interaction than this. It's just I've got like my hands full with everything and I cannot see the screen because it's like, well, you can see it's like over there, right? So. Oh, it's Shane's birthday as well. Yo, Pisces in the house. So many Pisces. It was Lauren's birthday at the beginning of the month. And then it was, I don't know if Heath's birthday is passed yet, but his birthday is in March. And then Shane from Shane's Trains, it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Shane. And then, yeah, lots of birthdays. And then actually my oldest son, his birthday is the very last day of March. I was really hoping he was going to be born on April Fool's Day, but I can't seem to win. So that would have been pretty good. Now, after I'm done putting this last piece of cork in here, I'm going to show you guys how I actually attach my sections to the Helix, just so you have an idea. I think doing something like that live is like nerve-wracking and also kind of noisy. Like I'd have to use my drill and whatnot, and the kids are already gone to sleep because they got school tomorrow morning, so I'm not going to be all noisy and stuff. That's why I'm doing all this stuff here, right? All the quiet gluing. Alrighty. I'm like flying up this thing. So the trick is to have one piece that is your template. And that is a piece that I made right from the beginning. And yeah, so basically I had made that one piece and I picked where I was going to start, which was at the very back, right at the bottom there. And I picked a height and whatnot. I know that there's a whole mathematical thing that I kind of worked out, but each post, or this, from this here to this here, that's exactly 2 feet, which goes up a 1/2 inch, which is, if I'm going from the Woodland Scenics, measurements, right? So if I had the little riser things, those things, the risers going up the Helix, basically the length of one is 2 feet. So it would wrap from here to here, and it would go up a 1/2 inch. So that's what I did. I marked out 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and that's where each 2x4 is at. So that's why they're all on this side all the way over, because that's the 2 foot mark. Now, okay, so that's, yeah, cork is done for now. I'm just gonna put the lid on this. I'll just show you guys that in a minute. Move this side here. Okay, and this. Lepage or Lepage. Oop, that's French. Wood glue, carpenter's glue, works really, really well. Remember that down. So I will get the piece that's up here and I will demonstrate and I will show you exactly what I do. So like I said, you got to have a template, and I get my 2x4s or my 2 foot by 4 foot modules cut down to 2 feet by 8 feet. Okay, no, sorry, 4 by 8. A 4 by 8 sheet of plywood cut down to 2 by 8. So it's just right down the middle, and you get 2 pieces. On that piece, I'm able to get 3 of these, 3 perfect curves, so then I cut them out. Then there's a whole extra part where it comes with, extra wood where I can cut another piece like this, but it's like, it's not a full thing. It's, but it's okay. I'm going to use it. So basically going around in the circle, let's say this is the piece right here, right? So I've got it butted up against the piece previously put in, and then it's sitting on top of my angle pieces, right? Now you notice that there's only 1 screw in, and it's because it's easier to take this out if there's only 1 and it's right at the top. Down here, it's so close to this, as you can see right here, I can't get the screw out of there. I have to use a screwdriver, which I don't know where that is right now. So once it's reattached, I use the screwdriver to put the screw back in to hold both. But right now, because I haven't put this piece on yet, it's just the 1 screw holding it in. So when I put this on here, I've got this tiny pencil, because you got to be able to fit in between here and here. So there's the tiny pencil, right? And then you go up and then you make a little circle right in the hole for each one of these. And then I take this off, I take those off, and then you'll have a little circle on here, and that's where you know that little hole is going to go. So I've got these smaller screws that do not go through this 1/2 inch ply, but it's strong enough to, go in and it holds it. So I screw all these to the 1, 2, 3, or however many are it's connected. Some only are held by 2. I think there's a section where it's held by 3. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so then with this piece with the angle irons attached to it, I drill it back to here, and that's connected. And yeah, then I put the bottom screw in, and you've got the 2 screws holding it to this, and then the 1 screw holding it to this on each of them, and they're pulled in tight. And then it's there. It's permanent. That's it. That's all there is. So yeah, that's how I do it basically. And you go around one piece at a time. In this case, I did like 3. So once I'm here, I basically continue the track from over there all the way around to like whatever here or wherever it stops, because I got to leave a bit of room here so I can continue on the cork and the painting. And then over there, I'm going to kind of show you here. I don't know if you can see it or not. So that is my board that I basically drop all my feeders to. And obviously it's color coded, so all the reds get the red clips, and all the white, which is the negative, get the little blue clips. And I feed them all to the one board, and then I've got some extensions that are supposed to go up a little bit higher, like upwards of here, so that I don't have to run the thing all the way down. And yeah, so basically the track from there feeds this way, while the upper track feeds going downward and upward. So the power runs very, very well through both tracks from one spot. I know a lot of people will say, well, you should do it every, 3-4 feet. I only do it in the one spot because all my track is soldered. Some people will even say you should have breaks in your, don't solder it together. And I'm like, no, I don't feel confident or skilled to do that. So I find that it would, buckle more if they're not soldered like that. Because I always solder on a straight and then I curve it. That way it seems more fluent. It flows a bit more better, I think. That's the correct words. So basically, yeah, I solder on a straight and then I curve it, and then I use white glue, literally like school white glue, and I hold it down with cans, and I do about 4 to 8 feet at a time, and it works. It's what I've done this far, and I'm probably going to continue it the rest of the way to the top. So now, as for blocks, because I know a lot of people have asked me about blocks. They're like, Chris, are you doing blocks? You got to do blocks. And I'm like, yeah, I know how to do blocks. I don't know how to do blocks, but I know how to prepare for blocks. So that basically means that this whole helix is going to be one block. What does that mean? Well, basically the track at the very bottom, and I think it's way back there on the bottom at the very back, I basically snipped a little piece of track off both tracks on both rails. So that basically, if that little feeder box that's right there, if that was not attached to the main layout right now, none of this would get power. So once I add a, what are they called? A block indicator or something like that. When I add a block thingy, power block thingy to it, this will be its own block, and I'm okay with that. Then the bottom level, this entire bottom level, that's another block. When I get up to here and I do the track that comes off and the track that goes to go on again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to snip a little piece of each one so that this here is its own block, and this will continue being one block. And I'm going to do that for each level. So 3 levels, 3 blocks, plus a helix, 4 blocks, keeping it very simple, light and breezy, nothing too excessive. It's yeah, there's so many ways to do this, and I don't know. This is just how I see it. Usually that's how I work. Now you guys have noticed that I did, and I'm going to kind of show you this as well. So with this back section here, so why is it that I have a piece of foam there where I've got plywood like literally everywhere else? That's a pretty big section. That's usually, I think that's about 6 feet long, and that's a little bit longer than what I feel comfortable with only having the support at each end and one in the middle. And I want to kind of avoid putting big pieces of wood on sections like that, just because the wood does tend to get heavy. So I went out, I got a 2-inch thick piece of foam. It was 2 feet wide by 8 feet long. 8 feet wouldn't even fit in my car, so I had to chop it to 6 anyways, and that's basically your 6 feet right there. So now that's still too low, because even when the curve comes off, and I'm just going to do it like this so you can see it. Yeah, that's a little high. So what I'm basically doing, or what I have to do, which I'm okay with, it's not a bad thing by any means. And I'm gonna have to fix this. So I've got a bunch of extra foam. Now 2-inch thick foam is pretty good because it's so thick that it stabilizes itself, and I don't have to worry too much about it bending or flexing like a 1-inch piece or less, you know. Okay, so I'm just putting that in there as just to kind of show you, right? There you go. Okay, sorry for the awful squeaking sound, but yeah. So we'll take a look here. So that is the new level. That's going to be the height of it there, because when we do this, this will basically sit right on top, and that's basically level right there. So what that means is that this area here, well, I'm going to have to go down a little bit when I get to this section. So it's going to come off, and then it's going to kind of wind down a little bit. And then the next track that's going to be back here, it'll go right in, and then this is all yard here, right? But it's also going to come up a little bit, just a tiny bit, 1/4 inch, to be able to follow that around. Now you'll also notice that I cut a huge curve out of it there, and that's basically just to bypass the pieces, like this piece here, that's going up and around, right? So yeah, which is, well, I mean, that's weird that it comes out at that height, because when I look at the top here, and I really noticed this today. I didn't plan this, but it's a happy accident. So when the top one comes off of the, how do I do that? Okay. So when the top level comes off of the top bar there, it'll be level right there. See? That's neat. So I'm very happy about that, and it kind of works. It kind of works. So much to do. You know, I got a couple of whatchamacallit SD40-2s that I could probably lash up. Bubs has a couple of SD70 Max that I know he's just dying to run a unit train up this thing. He's got like a 45, is it 45 cars? I think he's like a 45 potash car train. And I know he's really super excited to bring that over and run that. So it'll be fun. Yeah, so I'm kind of making do with what materials I can get myself. I'm lucky enough to have the option, but let me tell you, a 2-inch thick piece of foam like that is 8 feet by 2 feet. It's $50, that's a gross price, and it's also $50 to get a 4 by 8 sheet of plywood. Super gross. So I spent $100 on 2 4 by 8 sheets just to get me up at least, what is that? 4, 3, 6, about 6 or 7 turns, 6 or 7 quarter turns cost me $100, and that's just the wood. If we're counting also the cork and the track, it does tend to cost quite a bit, and it's not for everybody. This is definitely not a cheap way to do things. But I figure, I'm like, the running space, if I did this as a one level, straight shot layout, I mean, I'd probably be done it by now, not gonna lie. But to have the running space, to have longer trains, unit trains, and passenger and fit multiple industries, I had to go up. I had to go vertical. So I cut a huge chunk of space. Like I said, this is a 6 by 6 section here, and I'm going to come right back with it. That's 6 feet by 6 feet, and then that section at the back here, that's like 1.5 feet. So it's like, almost close to 8 feet wide coming out, and then 6 feet deep. So it takes up a lot of real estate, but I'm going from being able to run, obviously I'd be a little bit higher, but that much to be able to run all three levels. So I think I made a good decision. I don't know. Whatever. I'll be happy when I can run trains again. I like I'll run a train back and forth and whatnot. But see, that's the thing, Greg. Like, it's so hard for me to be sad about that old layout, because it wasn't like, there's always going to be aspects that you do like, and then there's certain things like I can pick it apart and say I didn't like this or this or this or this. And even with a layout that I had a long time ago, and in order to really see that layout and me running on it, you'd have to probably go onto my Facebook, because I did a Facebook Live like way back in the day, and that was when Mark and Dave came over, and that's when I had a huge ethanol plant as well. And basically the ethanol plant was in a giant circle. It was like a 5 by 5 circle, and then the train went around the outside of it and went up a 2% grade. And there was a whole area with stuff, but it was basically one level with like a raised section at the back to loop back on itself. And I really enjoyed that layout, but there was even things on that layout that I'm like, well, I wish I could do this differently. I wish I could do that differently. So again, for me, it's just a matter of picking out the things that I liked the most about each layout, and then kind of implementing them on this one here. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Uh-oh. Those prices that I gave, Steph, they're not real prices. My wife is watching. Let me see if I can. Yeah, my wife actually has been pretty cool about everything, and even more so than previous layouts. I think with previous layouts, they didn't look, and the way that they took up space was not feasible, and there was a certain part of it that just, it made it look unattractive, I guess you could say. But the way that I'm doing this, I'm trying to, make it look better and easier to kind of walk around and not feel cluttered and stuff. So I think that she's kind of warming up to this one more than she warmed up to the other ones. But yeah, she's pretty cool. Yeah, I think actually my wife keeps tabs on everything I order, and then all of a sudden the next day, for some reason, a couple of random boxes show up for her. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's spite, but I mean, like, I don't really give her, the business for ordering stuff. So there was actually a thing that we were talking about. Well, it was more of a joke than anything, where I was telling Lauren that he has to start labeling boxes, like something completely untrain related, like I don't know, cat food, and just be like, oh, cat's got another box of cat food that came in today, but then I open it up and it's like train stuff. So that that's the plan. It was a running joke that we had. One time I even placed an order. I think it was the LRC order for the LRC cars. And he even asked me, he's like, is your wife going to kill you? And I'm like, she's all right. She's all right. And yeah, well, you guys know how the LRC car thing went. Yeah, actually, one day I received a package from Bell, and I had no idea where it came from. But I mean, that's a different story for a different day. But my wife's threatening me now. Uh-oh. Okay. No more trains. No more trains. I think I've got a bunch anyways. Until like next week. But yeah. So I've been pretty happy with how things are turning out here at the bottom. And I'm sure, given a week or two, I will be able to add, a little bit more, and the greenery will come in ever so slightly. Well, I mean, the Canadian set, I mean, I doubt I'll ever find one in Via. and I doubt I'll have a random $2,000 to drop on it. I'm definitely gonna get some of the Rapido bi-level cars. I'm really excited to see what they actually do with them. It'll be interesting for sure. They already look really nice, and it's just a computer image of it. So I'm really excited for them because obviously, if you guys have ever bought like a Rapido detailed passenger car, locomotive, even rolling stock, you guys know the level of detail they put into it. And I know that these Athearn ones, I mean, they're Fubies from the wheels up. So I'm still going to keep mine just because it's more cars, more rolling stock, more numbers. I hate having cars that are all the same numbers. So, and obviously with the Rapido ones, they light up and stuff, but I never really run my cars with the lights on. I mean, it's a nice touch, but most of my, like when I run cars, it's daytime, and they never have the lights on in the cars when it's daytime. So, it's nice when you do like a nighttime run, but I never do that. It sounds like an accident waiting to happen, if you ask me. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a comparison. So it's like Rapido's going to be like, okay, yep, good, good. Athens going to be like, oops. But yeah, no, seriously though, it's they should be good, and I'm really, really excited for the control cars because no one's done those yet. So, and I'm not going to tell my wife how much they are. That's the important part. um. Okay, so I mean, yeah, they're not. Yeah, like don't get me wrong, because they aren't terrible, and like I've got one here. I'll show you. So there was some very minor things that I did to actually make all mine run better. So for starters, right, like when we talk about the Athearn ones, there's supposed to be another window here, and I believe that there's too many windows here, and I think that there's supposed to be another window up here, or is it just down here? I can't remember for the life of me, but I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be another window down here. These trucks are terrible, and the wheels are terrible, and the couplers that it comes with are terrible. So I had to adjust the wheels because you've got they're metal wheels, and they have a little plastic spacer. So they go in and they go, out. So I had to actually take the wheels out and adjust them to the actual track so that they weren't, slipping like this way. And I did that for every single car, every single wheel. Yeah, it was a bit much, but they stay on the track now. They roll really nicely, and I never have any derailment issues. Second thing I did was I switched every single coupler out for KD number 5s because number 5, well, KD, first of all, everything should be KD. I don't even care. I don't know what makes them so special. They work so much better than most other couplers, and I love them. They're great. Anyone will tell you that KDs are the way to go. But yeah, I go with the number 5s because they don't stick out too far, and so I still get a fair amount of closeness between each car, but I'm able to go around decent curves and not have that clicking sound. When these diaphragms go up against each other. Oh, yeah. So anyway, that's my short spiel on those. I mean, other than that, they look fine. Like the paint job is fine. Grav irons are okay, but yeah, there's a lot of inaccuracies with these, and I'm excited for the Rapido ones. So, but they're only doing that paint scheme right now for the bi-levels in the Go Transit. Hopefully in the future they do the two-tone, even though a lot of people really hate that paint scheme. So wait, we have cookies? Why didn't anybody tell me we had cookies? I'm always the last to know. Yeah, Katie, well, it really depends on the, and I'm going to show you a comparison here. Give me 2 seconds. So, dang, okay, here we go. All right, so you guys know that I did the number 5s. Katie, number 5. I'm going to bring that up real close. Whoop. Katie, number 5 is what works for these. I tried a couple, and I found that this works best. And that's the way I've done it for a while. Every single one of my Go Transit cars now, that's what it runs. And I don't have, literally, I have 0 issues now. So perfect, perfect. It runs, and that's another reason why I don't want to get rid of them. I spent all that, time and, obviously you have to buy the couplers and whatnot, and it's like $5 and you get 4 couplers. So, I'm able to do a couple of cars at a time, but you spend that extra money to make them work, I'm not going to get rid of them. Now, the LRC cars, and I just grabbed this one randomly because this one's done, right? So you guys, if you haven't seen my video yet on my review, I reviewed these ones. I reviewed and unboxed the special run that I helped with. And then I did another video showing how you can make them even better than what they already are. They look great. They sound weird, if you've ever heard one of these. They work awesome and they look great. But functionality-wise, I had to change out the couplers. So for these ones here, and I'll take the diaphragm off so you guys can get a better look, just in case you haven't seen the video. Come on. There we go. I use KD number 148. 148. And it doesn't stick out too far. And it's not super sunk in when I put the diaphragm on. Like the diaphragm does not cover it, right? Because these don't move at all. There's no give here. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough turning space and there was enough give between them. So the 148 keeps them close without them being like touching, That's what works for these cars, I find anyways. If anybody used something different, let me know. But I basically updated all my cars except for, I think I have one left that I have to do still. But 148s are like impossible to find now. So use the 148s on your LRC cars, and it honestly works really well. Another thing I had to do, obviously, I had to oil all the wheels. I had this issue. A lot of other people had the same issue where it's rolling along and it honestly sounds like mice in the wall. So all that squeaking is gone now because I lubed them up. And I don't know if it's because they sat too long or they weren't oiled at the factory, or because of the temperatures, it might have dried it out. I don't know. But these work really, really well now. And I'm very excited because they're nice cars. So, and obviously, like these ones here, the blank colored ones were like just over 100 each. And then the fancier wrapped ones were like 120, 130. So you want to make sure that they work. It's crazy sometimes, you spend hundreds of dollars and then you end up selling it because it doesn't really work for the layout. And believe me, I've been there. That's kind of how things were with my last layout. I ended up selling some stuff because it just didn't work for the layout. And, instead of making my layout just work, it's kind of how it was. Hey Roy, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. I know you're a busy guy and you're on the road. This is kind of like a podcast because my face isn't really on the screen for most of this, except for when I'm doing some work. But it's all right. It's all right. No one needs to see me. I'm not a train. Just kind of going through the chat here. Yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, I've been hard at work. I've been doing a lot of stuff here. Now that I know how basically this is going to go, I'm eventually going to do a track plan up here, which is going to include at least 8 tracks. I want to have at least 8 tracks on there, so that I've got tons of storage. I'll be able to fit like a locomotive with 4 passenger cars, and I can do a number of those. So I can have 2 or 3 full Go Transit sets, a set of Via Silver, 2 or 3 sets of the LRC cars, my Tempo set, tons, and it's all gonna be parked right in here. And why? Because I can't really get to it anyways. It goes back in there. I can only reach so far. So that's all. It's not really graveyard, but it's gonna house all the stuff that I'm not using, and it's up and it's out of the way, and that's how that works, and that's kind of what I planned for. So other than that, I've got to do one more loop of this, and I have to cut more of these darn curves because it takes forever. So unfortunately, yeah, I've got one more piece, this piece that's sitting up here, and then I have to cut another 3 or 4 more pieces to kind of continue around. But I won't get that done for another probably couple of days or so. My weekend's over and I'm back to work tomorrow. So maybe sometime next week I'll be able to do that. And when you come back next month, I will probably be somewhere down here track-wise. That's what I'm going to aim for. By next month, I'll be maybe back there by the building that I was working on last month. Oh, and for those of you who didn't see the live video I did last month on the what's it called? Third track. Wow. Third Rail Thursdays. This is the building that I was working on. I put it together. I basically built it, and then afterwards I'd sprayed the whole thing. I added these little brick sheets in here just to kind of bring it to life. I painted the window frames blue because it's going to be for the Pillsbury, so I kind of wanted a bit of blue in there just to kind of represent that. And then I have to still weather it. I still have more squares to cut out, obviously, and then I have this side to do as well, this entire side. All this is basically done, I think. Is this side done? Oh, no, I still have like one more there. But yeah, basically, this is just a backdrop building that I've been working on, and it's almost done. And then I've got a whole bunch of detail parts that still need to be painted, but they're all together. And then I have to weather the whole thing, make it look all gross and stuff. So that'll be fun. And then that's good to go for when I am doing that section where that's going. My computer's in the way though, so I kind of built it on a whim, and I'm like, I need something to do for my live, so I decided to build that, and that's what I came up with. So, but yeah, and then I've got lots more building kits that I have to do, and I'm really excited for all that because I love building kits. It's like I said before, it's my bread and butter, and I love doing those. So I just had to do this stuff. And also, for those of you who are wondering, one second. For those of you who are wondering what major industry is going at the top of the Helix, I'll give you a hint. For those of you who haven't seen it or you don't know, I just got this in the other day. It's the steel mill. So it's one of the one of the buildings. These are huge, apparently. These are massive kits, and I loves me some kits, so I'm very, very excited to be able to do these. And I'm probably going to build some of this live on a Third Rail Thursday, and yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I love building those kits. Other than that, I've got tons more to do. I've got my industry coming in here. That'll be in next week. A couple of other odds and ends. And yeah. Level 2, guys. Level 2. Right? Right? And my cat's excited. Ugh, my cat's excited. What? So, got to get back to work, I guess. So, it's been fun. Third Rail Thursdays. And I'm Go Beer, Go Home. This is Alexis. And thanks for joining me tonight. Thank you, everybody. If you didn't stay along, it's whatever. If you catch us on the replay, cool. Thanks for watching. And next week we're going to be over on Eminem's channel, Eminem Rails, and it's his turn for Third Rail Thursday. And then we're going to come back in 2 weeks right here for GVO After Dark. I can't remember what episode we're on. I can't. There's been too many. So yeah, thanks for watching. And it's time for bed. Go away, kitty. Have a good night, everybody.